Kevin, what is the proposed solution to the budget issue concerning the city of Covington paying their percentage of the police services to the sheriff's office?
Well, that's still a work in progress. But I can tell you this, back in 2008, when I did my first budget as sheriff, it had to be turned in, I believe, in March. I also turned in a copy, and I'm the first sheriff to ever turn in a copy to the city of Covington. Prior to that, since 1953, Covington has been paying that percentage of 20, what's Alleghany County 74, and City of Covington 26%. But I was the first sheriff, but when I presented my budget and sent my budget to Alleghany County, I also took a budget over to the City of Covington. And then a few years later down the road, it seemed like that's when it really started to come around here and there. And I think one of the main reasons I believe that happened is because of my working relationship with them. And I felt like they needed to be able to see that, and instead of just getting a bill at the end of the year. Now, I do agree with some of the things that they said. You know, they felt like they didn't have any representation. But we provide a lot of services for that, for the city of Covington and the citizens of the city of Covington. Because, you know what, I am the sheriff of the city of Covington. Alleghany County, Township, Forge, and Iron Gate. And we do a lot of activities and patrol just because they have a police department. I think there's a lot of things that we do to provide them with that. But we've been sitting down once a month, as you all probably are well aware. We're working towards it. We agreed to come in and get an account to come in and look and see what we've been spending and what we've been doing with our canines, our crime scene, you know, services that we provide them, and our emergency response team that they do not have. So we're sitting down looking at these numbers, and I believe there's going to be, a deal's going to be worked out. I have no doubt in my mind, and what's fair and equitable, and that's what we'll do. Thank you.
All right, Dave.
I want to go back and touch on what Kevin said a little bit ago about the policies as far as the drug testing within the department. That must be something new that they've just started. And the committee, as far as doing policies within the department, they hold meetings every so often. A lot of times when those policies are implemented, they're placed into policy, and up until recently, many of the officers wasn't even aware of the policy changes in it unless an email was sent out to all of the officers. That is one thing that was changed right before I left. The prior department that Kevin and I both worked at, each officer received a copy of the rules and regulations, policies and procedures, and you actually had to sign off on it saying that you read it and you understood it. That is one area that needs to be focused on at the sheriff's office. And what was the question in this one?
What is a proposed what is the proposed solution to the budget issue concerning the city of Covington and the percentage they pay to the sheriff's department?
The issue with the city of Covington has come about this year, but it's actually been ongoing for several years. Richard Douglas called Kevin over a couple of years ago and had a meeting with him and J.B. Bruffman about the services that Alleghany provides to the city of Covington. After that meeting, I recall Kevin coming back to the office, and he was upset about it. They tried to pit Kevin against JB, is what I understand about the conversation. But the thing is that the sheriff should be on a regular basis talking to each and every government entity, and they should be aware of all the expenses that are ongoing within the sheriff's office. If they have funding that they are providing to the sheriff's office, that they should receive a budget from the sheriff's office for that. And when they request the amount of information from the sheriff's office.
David, I'm sorry, your time's up.
Okay.
Okay, this question's yours.
Next one.
You can cover some of this in your final comments if you want. What steps would you take to address the overcrowded conditions at the jail?
I'd like to see a lot of new programs come into effect. We have the work release program. They actually get additional time for for doing work release. I would like to see other programs such as the drug court and using alternative measures as far as treatment programs and home confinement. If the case is their first offender, it shouldn't be looked at in that manner. Sadly, our jails all the way across the state of Virginia and across America are crowded, and we need to address it, and we need to be using common sense when we approach this task. But we need to look at it. We need to look at what's going to be effective in the future, and we need to try to reduce the amount of people that we do have in jail that can have an alternative sentence.
Okay. Kevin?
Thank you. Well, we're working on it all the time. We worked with the board for the last several years. This has been an issue that's been going on for quite some time now, prior to Major Cronk, who's my jail administrator. I believe Major Cronk's probably been my jail administrator by the last 5 or 6 years. And previous jail, 7 years, I believe. Jail administrator before him was Kevin Hall, is when this all started. We already have work release. People, if they qualify for it, we have a work program where they pay so much per day to get out and go to work. They have to work in Alleghany, Covington, and Bath. The program I talked about earlier, and I'll touch on it again, you know, unfortunately, I am considered a leader across the state of Virginia. I'm on the Governor's Opioid Commission, and we're looking at ways of providing counseling inside the jail. And like I said, we just got this grant, $290,000 now, to be able to start a pilot program for drug court. That's something that's been going on since 2015. It just didn't happen now. And Kevin Hall can't take credit for drug court. Drug court's been going on in Roanoke for like 25 years. But Kevin Hall, that's active in the Sheriff's Association, that went around with Governor Northam, and I'm an independent. I want everybody in this room to know that I'm an independent. I'm not a Republican, I'm not a Democrat, because I feel like all sheriffs, and I really do believe all sheriffs in the state should be independent because they work for everybody. So I went around with Governor Northam because of the opioid crisis and to be able to travel around and get the doctors. So there's some things that we're looking at. There's the counseling in the jail, the medically assisted. We're looking at the Vivitrol treatment. So but we can get people out of jail and keep them from coming back and give them this injection that they can go to the CSD and receive counseling and wraparound services once they are released.
Okay, thank you, Kevin. This is going to be the last question until you're able to summarize. Does Alleghany County have an adequate number of law enforcement officers? And what changes would you make to ensure ample coverage?
We don't have enough law enforcement. The state gives us one for every 1,500. I don't know about you, but those odds to me aren't very good. If I was a person out here and I was going one person against 1,500, unless I'm David, I'm not going to beat Goliath. So yes, we do need more, but it is, you know, it is what it is. As they say, it's what the state funds us. The county does give us a couple extra positions, you know, here and there. And actually, we've lost positions because of the population in Alleghany County, and I'm afraid that this next census that we're going to lose another. But we gained positions and kept the funding because of the overcrowding of the jail. But one thing that I did do, and I mentioned before, we went to a 10-hour shift when I came to the sheriff's office. And I didn't come up with this either, but I worked alongside Sergeant Prophet and another committee at the Covington Police Department and came up with this modified 10-hour shift, which gave more people out here in the evenings and the weekends. And actually, that was one of my campaign issues back in 2007. And we got more people out here on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays, especially in the evening and nights when it's busy. So, you know, the only thing I can do is unfortunately, the 12 years I've been sheriff, I know the Board of Supervisors have done the best they can do, but our county's not growing. Where's the tax money? You know, I've been pretty much maybe level funding, but some of this stuff, the jail overcrowding, has caused us to even go above that. And that's all we can do. But the thing it is, we can't work the 12-hour shift. We don't have enough people to do it. It's just not possible for us to do it out here and have the coverage that I'd like to have, because I want the coverage out here in the evenings and the nights. But we went to the 10-hour shift, and we provide adequate coverage out here to be able to patrol this county, unlike when we had an 8-hour shift when you had 2 officers back when I worked and said that's just not enough people. Thank you.
I believe one of the problems that you have when it comes to funding is based on population and not square mileage in a county department, because you do have a lot of mileage you got to cover. And it does take a lot of time to get from one end of the county to the other. The schedule was changed recently to a 10-hour schedule. It is overloaded on certain days, and mainly on those days are primarily daylight. Unfortunately, it should be more towards the evening shift and the weekends. But as far as the amount of officers that we have, we're always going to need more. We could always use more. And what I talked about earlier, moving the officers from jail positions or bail positions to have them actually come out and cover the road, I mean, it's pretty much a necessity. You have to use people from other portions of the sheriff's office to fill in those areas, because you cannot simply do it on a 14-person schedule. There's no way, especially when you have a sheriff and a chief deputy who are taking care of the administrative duties in a department. But you have to use what you have available from the state, and fortunately for us, the county has funded some of the positions. And as I was talking about earlier, from the city of Covington, with the additional funding from them coming in, it actually pays for some of the officers. And I guess my time's up.
Go ahead. You got 3 minutes to cover anything you may have felt like you missed, or tell us why you're running for sheriff.
Well, one of the things that I wanted to continue talking about was the ongoing thing with the city of Covington and the budget. As I said before, it has been ongoing for over 3 years. They have actually pulled Kevin in and asked him to meet with him several times about where the funding is going. And they've actually sent accountants over to the sheriff's office and went through the sheriff's office files to determine where this funding is going. And now we are a couple of years into it, and unfortunately we're having to sit down with their board of supervisors, Kevin and the city of Covington, to come up with a budgeting format, because we don't have it. We don't have the numbers that they're wanting to know. And it would be irresponsible for any government body to blindly fund a sheriff's office without knowing where these funds are going to. And that is one of the reasons why we are currently going through this process now. My name's Dave Williams. I'm running for sheriff. The reason why I'm running for sheriff is I believe that I can do better for our community, and I want to give our community an option, a different route than what we've been going down. But I just want to thank everybody for coming out, and God bless all of you.
Kevin?
And I know, keep touching on this Covenant thing. Well, I think a lot of it is a lack of understanding and a lack of communication, because it's always been done this way. And then you have different members of boards and councils that get on, and then they don't understand exactly what services that you provide. I think we, by meeting, and it's coming up this year, we've been able to sit down with each other and be able to, I think they have a better understanding of the services that we provide. And should not be just because, well, I have a PD, so why am I paying the law enforcement services to you? Because we do offer services to them, a K-9 or emergency response team, crime scene that Mr. Williams used to do here, and I sent him to the training to be a crime scene process. I sent him to that when he came over from Covington PD when I hired him in 2010. So I think it's a lack of understanding of what we actually do for them, those people. It's not the people that are out there working because they know what we do. But I'm Kevin Hall, been the sheriff for the last 12 years. It's been an honor and a pleasure to be your sheriff. I've worked hard. Our people there sitting, a lot of them right here in front of me, have made all these things that we were able to do possible. There's so many things that we do in the community, and there's a list of 41 or so, and I can tell you about them and talk to you about them after. I wouldn't have time right now, but even like over the last 4 years, you know, we put in the first drug take-back box in our office, and now people can drop off their prescriptions, their unused prescriptions, and that's a way to fight the opioid crisis. We got a new incinerator because we're the ones that lead in the drug take-back day, which we have one coming up on October the 26th at Walmart and a CVS in Clifton Forge. Our sheriff's office is the one that mans that. But we now have a drop box, and at the first drop box that you can come into our lobby 24 hours a day and get rid of those. And then now, working with the CSD, we actually have an incinerator that we don't have to hold on to those unwanted prescriptions until twice a year that the DEA takes them, because we have to hold on to that stuff. But what I want to talk about is how we're innovative, we're up to technology. We've had mobile data terminals in this last 12 years. In the last 4, we've had officers trained in CIT, and we have a CIT assessment site to help people that are in a mental crisis, that is safe transfer from the officer on the street to those people. So if I'm elected your sheriff for the next 4 years, I can guarantee you this, that I'll work harder than anybody else out here. And if you don't believe that, you can ask my family the time I spent away from home. And I'm on the Eastern Shore, and people are messaging me for my 10-day vacation that I took this year to the Eastern Shore, and I'm dealing with issues. So I'll make myself available on my community events, and I'll continue to fight for the people that need to be fighting for. And that's every citizen in Alleghany County, because I am an independent. I'm not tied to one party or the other. And
Okay,
I'll make my
Kevin.
decisions based on that.
I hate to cut you off, but your time's up. I want to, and that's it's well deserved, the applause. And I want to thank Kevin and David, and also our treasury candidates. I hope they're still here, and I'm sure Kevin and David will hang around for a while. But the other thing I want you to thank yourself, if you look around, I've been doing this for about 10 years. And this is the largest crowd I've ever had at a chamber forum. So you can give yourself a hand for being here, because it shows that you're interested, you want to know what's going on, and we are glad to see you. Everybody be safe going home, and like I say, hang around and ask questions if you choose. Thanks again.
Thank you.